President fired the person who was overseeing the investigation into possible Russian ties into the Trump campaign and possibly into the Trump administration. So to talk more about this, bringing in now Scott Lucas, a professor of international politics at the University of Birmingham in England. Always a pleasure to have you with us, Scott. So, you heard a moment ago, the search is on for a replacement for James Comey. And again, let's take a look at the possible replacements. So far, a list of 8 that we have, and there could be more on the way. You see here, Andrew McCabe is also among the list. Andrew McCabe is the acting director at this point, given that James Comey is out. But of that list, Scott, and I know that you're well versed in the people there. So what do you think so far about the people the president is looking into?
Well, it's a wide sweep of candidates. 8 interviewed on Saturday, more to come, including actor director McCabe, and they each offer different possibilities and different questions. McCabe, to start with, as acting director, is certainly there. He's qualified. He's up to speed on the inquiries into the possible links between the Trump administration and Russia. But of course, that might disqualify him from the start for the job, especially since he challenged Trump after Comey's dismissal by saying, no, Mr. Comey did retain the FBI's confidence, or the confidence of the agents. If you take someone like John Cornyn, senator from Texas, quite prominent, the problem here is he is so vocal a defender of Trump that any prospective appointment raises questions as to whether the Trump administration is trying to shut down the FBI investigation. There are a couple of judges on the list who have very solid records: Michael Garcia, Henry Hudson, a couple of former Bush administration officials, Alice Fisher, Francis Townsend, who headed up Homeland Security, a couple of former FBI agents. But I think the one candidate probably to watch out for at this point, without saying that anyone is a clear favorite, is probably Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is a Republican who was head of the House Intelligence Committee, who's a former FBI agent, and who on Saturday was endorsed by the FBI Agents Association, which represents many within the Bureau. So Rogers, I think, if he passes the political test, that he's not coming in simply to shut down the Trump-Russia inquiry, may be able to appeal across both aisles of the Senate, which will be necessary for any confirmation.
And also important to point out the timing. Director Comey, the former director, was actually ramping up the Russia investigation per reporting when he was terminated by the president, which was in the rights, well within the realm of ability of the President of the United States. Let's talk also about Mr. Trump giving his first commencement address as president. Listen to just a bit of what he had to say at the commencement ceremony of Liberty University, Scott. We can talk about it here on the other side.
In my short time in Washington, I've seen firsthand how the system is broken. A small group of failed voices who think they know everything and understand everyone want to tell everybody else how to live and what to do and how to think. But you aren't going to let other people tell you what you believe, especially when you know that you're right.
All right there, Scott. So you get a little insight here. So he's giving advice to, people who are graduating, heading into, the business world, the world, of workaday world, but at the same time giving some insight into his own presidency.
Oh, whenever Trump speaks, it's largely about Trump, let's be clear. So that clip you just heard, which is effectively, don't anyone tell you you're not right, and then earlier in the speech talking about a small failing group in Washington that was trying to tear everything down. Trump's idea that on the one hand he's playing the victim, that he's under assault from the fake media, he's under assault from political opponents, but on the other hand saying, I command this large majority of support in the fact that I am right, that I have this self-belief. Well, clearly both can't be true. He can't be simply victimized by, basically all these powerful forces, and at the same time only be facing a very small group of recalcitrants. But that's Trump. I mean, you don't look for logic here. You look for the fact that this is a man who will never say he's wrong, will never admit any type of mistake, which in part accounts for the fact that whether or not you think he's right or wrong, he is going to continue this type of defiance, whether it's over the firing of James Comey, whether it's of the Trump-Russia inquiry, whether it's any of his economic or foreign policy proposals.
Scott Lucas, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. This is